Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. I am Friendship Pearson, and welcome to my channel, Friendship Blue. It is Thursday. I have 11:12 p.m. Yes, I'm up late. Many times I am up late, I just don't record. I initially thought about going to bed and just calling it a night, right? But a few hours ago, I rewatched the video that I did in my car, and I enjoyed it. And I miss doing that. So I got to remind myself a few times during the week, get in the car, Pearson, and just talk. You see, many times when INSPA, short for inspiration, speaks, I've learned to stop what I'm doing if I can and jot it down. Being I'm in this internet business, I need to move and let it flow. So tonight I want to give it to you straight, people, because we're grown. The fate of America is in part in our hands, yet prophecy is going to be fulfilled nationally and internationally. I talked about in the video, it's titled, Wow, Auto Repos Up, Student Loans, Delinquents, and state, this is unbelievable, right? State health services cut. It was a lot. I made it a 24-minute video, although there was a lot more that I wanted to say. But I believe I got the message across. Then I get home and lo and behold, 10,000 jobs. 10,000. Yeah. In the healthcare field. Health and Human Services, run by or overseen by RFK Jr., who in a lot of people's minds and expectation is supposed to be our hero. Like I said, I'm going to give it to you straight. There are no heroes on that level. I boldly said in a few videos recently, what if the president all the way down, the leaders that we see on TV every day, suppose they're not made in their image? Suppose they're fallen angels. Suppose I told you that ever since I was 17, I've been listening to, some might feel, the most strangest broadcast. I was a news junkie, born that way. And the people that I listened to, they were like, look, there are other entities amongst us. And our government and governments around the world have made a pact with these entities, which are fallen angels. And there's an agreement whereby they could build their kingdom here on earth. And we would gain their knowledge, their advanced knowledge. I've been hearing that it's been going on since the 50s. I've been hearing that it's one of the best kept secrets on the planet, above the planet, and in the earth. That the UFOs that you and I hear about, and arguably over the last 18 months, we've heard about them more and more. I wonder why. Those are really fallen angels. That they're mastermind a plan to infiltrate, if you were, the biggest positions of business, banking, government. That they play this game of good cop, bad cop. That many of the people that you see on TV just might not be in God's image, but they are made in the image of Satan. Allegedly. I digress. I just want to put that on your mind because I want to set a basis, because as soon as I got home, it's like, hey, Secretary RFK Jr. joins Chris on becoming HHS Secretary. And he wants to discuss the 10,000 job cuts. I'm going to play that, and then I'm going to play a minute of Doge. You see, Doge, the leader, Elon Musk, and his CEO, and about 6 or 7 other people, they were interviewed tonight, and they were discussing all the money that they have been able to save us citizens. This waste, fraud, and abuse that has gone on for too long. They've mounted themselves up on a pony and they're saving the day. As I was listening to Elon, I told myself, I said, you know what? Suppose in reality, they're the waste. Suppose they're perpetrating a fraud. And maybe the goal is to abuse us. It's deep. Should I digress or should I continue? I think I'll continue. See, people, there are things that have to occur before Satan takes his throne. He is on this earth. And he said he wants to be like the Most High. So he has to orchestrate and manage this earth so it can reflect what he always wanted. And it has to be the basis from which he rules so he can then propel himself up back to glory for the final objective, and that is to be like the Most High. Now, whether you believe me or not, I want you just to listen for a minute. I want you to understand. The Bible says we don't fight against flesh and blood, but we fight against principalities, powers of the air. God never underestimated Satan. And I believe that he put that in the scripture because he doesn't want you to underestimate him as well. He was able to convince a third of the angels to roll with him. This is the final move. They need our will. They need to gain our trust. They need to make us dependent upon them, thus create the illusion that through waste, fraud, and abuse, I can save you. Because they kept saying that in this long interview tonight, that, and everybody knows it who studied economics or just our budget alone with $36 trillion in the hole. We can't even pay the interest on the debt. But they just kept hammering it home. If we don't do this, there won't be an America to talk about. So we got to get it done. We've been manipulated to a point where we will just give it to them. It's easier to take over and control the country when you cut it off at its knees and they can barely hobble. That's what they're doing. It's the illusion of help. It is the illusion of help. But yet it is a way to have the intrusion into all the data. The biggest clue is this. We have 535 politicians. And they made us think about it at the beginning. But people, there's a way to usurp anything if you first get control of it. And I believe that's what has happened to our government. They needed a Donald Trump to get up in there. They had to sell him to everybody, including Christians. He quote unquote got the vote and now he's in. And boom, the powers went to work. Because it's all about the tech from this day forward. Diminish the oil of America and invest in the tech. Revelation 13, you can't buy or sell without the mark. That's tech. That's AI. And so when you think about everything that's going on, stir it up, drink the Kool-Aid, we're exactly what they want us to be, but they had to sell it. And the final sale is Donald J. Trump. And then once they unalive him, he served his purpose. They're still here. Last man standing. So they're introduced. They've got their hooks in it. They allegedly got all the data and imposing other things, allegedly. And now it's theirs. The kingdom. Do you get it? It was bigger than the presidency. It was about the kingdom. Do you understand? It's deep. So again, there are no heroes. Because America was never made for you. Now I digress and I'll come back. I want you to listen to RFK Jr. explain the 10,000 job cuts.
Word of 10,000 cuts.
Well, you know, there's cuts across the federal government, and I think it's hard on everybody. But our agency, which is the biggest agency in government, twice the size of the Pentagon, $1.9 trillion, grew by 38% budget during the Biden administration, 17% in employee increases, and public health went down. By every metric by which you measure public health, it decreased with all the money that was being thrown at it, with all the personnel that were being brought in. This is a sprawling agency, Chris. We have over 100 comms departments. We have 40 procurement departments. We have dozens of IT departments, dozens of HR departments, none of them talk to each other. And what we're trying to do now is to streamline the agency, to eliminate the redundancies, and to focus the mission so that everybody who is at HHS is going to wake up every morning and say, what am I going to do today to make America healthy again? And we're going to make it easier for those. We're not cutting scientists, we're not cutting frontline workers, we're cutting administrators, and we're consolidating the agency to make it more efficient.
So we'll get rid of administrators. We'll do exactly what Doge said in a video that I'll play for you. They're going to get everybody to talk to each other, including computers. Everybody be on the same page, so won't be a need for all this administrative. And then it'll make it more efficient. And you, my friend, will be blessed because there'll be a savings. We're your heroes. And yes, the other sale is, we'll either you wait around to see if you'll get laid off, or you can take the early retirement, or you can just take lump sum of money, and then you'll be all right for 8 months. And after that, or whatever the number is, they gave him a severance, right? And then you'll be able to go out into the workforce and get a job. Not a bad deal, right? Let's listen to Elon.
On the other side of the aisle are attacking you, and they characterize the approach as this: fire, ready, and then aim. And how do you approach that? How do you respond to that?
Well, I do agree that we actually want to be careful in the cuts. So we want to measure twice, if not thrice, and cut once. Actually, that is our approach. They may characterize it as shooting from the hip, but it is anything but that. Which is not to say that we don't make mistakes. If we were to approach this with the standard of making no mistakes at all, that would be like saying someone in baseball's got to bat 1,000. That's impossible. So when we do make mistakes, we correct them quickly, and we move on.
Some people say this shouldn't take a rocket scientist. Steve Davis, you are a rocket scientist. You used to be. Yeah, I know.
As they talked, that's how they positioned their hands. As they spoke, several times. Elon, the main one, is at the pyramid sign. It's all about a sell, people. You need me. And one of the points I wanted to bring up is that what should have made us suspicious is that you have 535 politicians. And you're going to tell me that Donald John Trump could not find anyone, any politician, to find faith in and say, look, let's do this audit so we can take care of waste, fraud, and abuse? Even your most senior, seasoned politician, I'm sure, would have stepped up to the plate. They can interpret what they're looking at better than Elon or any of the, not to insult the Doge people, but people, look, all numbers don't speak the same way. It takes time to realize what you're looking at. So what are they really looking at? When I was 17, I made my apartment in my mom's house the bicentennial, the red, white, and blue. Abraham Lincoln on parchment paper. The Liberty Bell is there, the red, white, and blue album. The Liberty Bell is, where is that thing? Oh, here it is, here. Here's the Liberty Bell. The whole wall, red, white, and blue. All that's red, white, and blue. Within years of that, I started writing about the one world system. God showed me this, and I broke down. In the 70s, God showed me this thing. I've said it before, I never thought I'd be doing this on social media. But God knew. He knew that he would have to take some people who've been looking at this thing for a long time so this current generation would have true perspective. So again, I'm going to give it to you straight. America wasn't built for you. As patriotic as I was when I was 17 and I made my room red, white, and blue in 1976 for the bicentennial. You see, because that says 1975. I was getting ready for the 200-year anniversary of America. As patriotic as I was then, I had to come to a realization as I began to study national and geopolitics that America wasn't made for us. It doesn't mean that God hasn't had his hand on us and blessed the country. He's still blessing it. With the salt, the seed, the light, but there's prophecy. In order for prophecy to happen, something had to be established. And America is that something. We are the harlots. We're the ones who needed the banks to indoctrinate as opposed to educate, to infiltrate the churches, the politics, all social, all education. You name it, it's been infiltrated. Remember, I told you, it's bigger than America. It's about the kingdom. We built military, not just for defense. We needed that to force feed, allegedly, other countries in any way, form, or fashion into the one world system. And we're here. I wanted to say this to you, and I'll keep it brief. The Depression was done deliberately, kind of like a test, to get everybody to bend and break, except for those in the know. The recession during Jimmy Carter, that was to ensure that those who slowly crawled up the ladder, they could come tumbling down. The 2008 housing crisis, that was done on purpose. Same deal. Middle class, bring it down. The Bankman-Frieds and the Bernie Madoffs, that was done for the upper echelon. Bring them down. See, Satan gets a kick out of that. You remember, he was hurled out of heaven. He gets a kick out of seeing people rise and fall. And if you see and look at history, that's what it's about. The rise and fall, the rise and fall, the rise and fall. They let all the drugs come over here since the 60s and 70s. Now the main drug today, justification for tariffs, that's all done on purpose. The Federal Reserve come into existence, that was done on purpose. Not even part of the government. Just got to put it together. This is hindsight, because I've watched it. Student loan, That was to take care of the promise of the future of America, to keep us in debt, to keep us stressed out. What a wicked thing to do. Healthcare, same thing. The illusion of promise. Then here comes Joe Biden, ballooning everything, spending money like a drunken sailor, and Congress co-signing with it. And now here comes Trump to save it. But like I told you, it's two wings of the same bird. Trump needed Biden, Biden needed Trump. Neither one of them need us. There's no heroes, people. It's all an illusion. Everybody plays their part, plays their role. Trump, Elon, Musk, and the invisible Obama, they're playing a role. They know the goal. They know they have an objective. So they're going to keep parading out here like they're saving something. But all they're doing is cutting and allegedly grabbing data as we float toward the dependency of Revelation 13 and 666, where you cannot buy and sell without the mark. That is the goal. We're at the end. Go ahead, Christian, vote. You never have to worry about it again. You'll be fixed. Welcome to the golden age, ladies and gentlemen. I had no idea when I wrote about it. The Purple Rain, the New World Order, the Golden Age. I had no idea in the 70s and even afterwards I'd be here talking about it. I hope you got a better perspective. They've constantly cut us off at the knees as they kept racism going and every other ism, men against women, vice versa, all that. And again, Trump's here to save the day. They're going to give you a whole lot of things, which are going to be beautiful. But remember, the goal is tech. That's what they're doing. So when the whole thing fall apart like it did in the Depression, scoop it up, that Phoenician bird turns into ashes, comes back up, they can remold it. Hope you're getting it. God bless you.